listeners. It's time to dust off your starter jackets, rip off those tearaways, and blow into your game cartridges. I'm Sam Blandford.
I'm Pat Sellers.
I'm Sean Kelly.
And I'm Simon Blandford. And we wish it was the 90s. I think I stole your thunder there, Sam. That might be the first time someone other than you has said that. But I'm hosting today for the second time. I'm going to be an MC for Name the 90s, a contest. This contest is involving our three heroes, Sam Blandford, Pat Sellers, and Sean Kelly. And it's going to be a lot of fun. The trio,
strip poker?
Strip poker, well, it's optional. Stripping is optional.
Should have worn clothes.
I'm just still devastated that Simon has obviously not listened to one X-Men podcast. Because Sean says it in every single one.
I think I listened to one.
Speaking of the X-Men podcast, I was out for lunch yesterday doing a bit of whining and dining with some clients and bumped into a fan of the podcast. Shout out to Fraser Colson, who said he absolutely revels in Sam discovering X-Men for the first time.
Fraser.
Oh, that's great. Great to hear. Good man.
Great man.
Good man. So let's outline the rules of the Name the 90s, a contest. So we can negotiate a little bit about the time that you guys have to prepare for this. But I'm thinking I'm only going to give you 10 minutes. All right? So you will only have 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, you need to think of as many 90s related things that you can think of.
All right.
At the conclusion of that 10 minutes, you need to have a list. And these things can be anything. It can be a video game, a TV show, a book, a board game, a band.
Stop researching, you bastards.
Well, I'm just keeping an eye on these people here. It can be anything at all that you want it to be.
Question.
Yes.
Are we going to pause recording or are you going to entertain the listeners for 10 minutes?
Oh, we're absolutely going to pause the recording. But I'll just continue with the rules. So eventually you have to name 10 90s things. But in the 10 minutes, I would recommend that you try to think of more than 10, as there might be double ups, right? So Sam might steal one of Pat's or vice versa. Okay? Once there is a double up, then you need to use that backup. I think so do we have the ability to look things up online? Is the question, guys. That's the one
Those
question.
Those two already are. I can see that.
No, I just got a Google Doc open so I could type my list.
I've
Thank you very much. Do you need me to share screen to prove it? Son of a bitch.
No, I think we're going by the honor system here. You're all honourable gentlemen.
No Googling, surely.
No Googling. Okay. And it will be a snake draft. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So the second person will always go second. And then always be alternating. Now
we know how snake drafts work, especially Sean.
Yeah, especially Sean. That's right. So if you wish to choose to say why your selection is suited to the 90s, you can do that should you wish. And once the lists are finished, I'll have some category winners, and I'll have an overall winner based on the caliber of your 90s related things. Now, the overall winner will be a holistic judgment based on the strength of your 10 selections. And points will be awarded for this. How 90s it is. So chronologically speaking, and also does it encapsulate the soul of the 1990s? Obscurity matters. So if you say Seinfeld, that's great. But it's not going to wow me. Right? Because we think of Seinfeld all the time. It's still part of popular culture. If you can bring up something that I haven't thought about in years, you're going to get extra credit. But if it's too obscure, I may have never even heard of it, I'll give myself the ability to look it up because I might, oh, yep, I remember that now. And my rule is final, even though most people will disagree with my verdict, I'm sure. So this all started because a colleague of mine, Diane Tennant, a former colleague of mine, we just used to do this at school. We'd just come up to each other and just sort of sidle up and say, and this is a good example because it's more 2000s, we'd just say, MSN Messenger. And we'd just say things from our childhood that were kind of funny. So as I say, I'm going to list some of the things. So do you have any questions about what type of thing you could name or any suggestions without being too specific?
I had a question before, but it's gone. So
you mentioned a few before. Video games,
TV show, book, board game, a band, a song, a toy, a fashion trend, a fashion brand, a computer, an event, a movie.
Can it still exist today?
Absolutely can still exist today.
Right. That
sure.
Just, has a lot of memories of the 90s.
And again, if there's some overlapping, it was sort of a thing from 96 to 2002. I'm not going to be, punishing you guys really for that at all. So
I wish I had known I was going to, I'm a pen and paper guy. I wish I had.
Go and get some pen and paper.
All right.
Sounds like a waste of attention.
I've got 4 categories as well. 4 categories before the overarching winner. And I've got the best overall 90s related thing. So there's a winner for that. The worst overall 90s thing, that's like a booby prize. So if someone says an absolute dud, you'll get that one. You'll get a prize for most obscure 90s thing. And then most obvious 90s thing as well. That will also be a bit of a booby prize. So your 10 minutes begins now. I've got my timer on. All right, time is up, everybody. And what
I feel like I'm at a disadvantage already.
Yeah, let's talk about why you think you're at a disadvantage, Sam.
Well, I just turned 33. I don't know if you guys want to divulge your ages on this podcast.
Move along.
Yeah, I can't remember a lot of the 90s. So I feel like there's a few things. A lot of my memories are really late 90s stuff.
Yeah. Look, if you go early 2000s, I'm not going to punish you too much. Let's be clear on that.
All right.
Let's be clear. Try for the 90s, of course. All right then. We're going to go. It's going to be real simple. We're going to go in alphabetical order, and it's going to be Pat. Of first name, Pat, Sam, Sean, and then Sean will, obviously as Sean is well acquainted with snake drafts, he's aware that he has the last pick of the first round and then the next pick of the second round. Now, you don't need to name your best one first. It's completely up to you.
But you don't want it taken by somebody else.
It's a tactical affair, isn't it?
It is a tactical.
You guys are revealing your tactics so openly. Fucking idiots.
So, Pat, without further ado, please let us know what 90s related thing you will be starting off with.
I hope this isn't from the 90s.
I don't know how niche this is, but my top selection, and it might not be a good selection contest-wise, but I don't know if you ever had it, but EA Sports game, ARL 96.
Oh.
Which had probably one of the best intros to any EA game ever. obviously rugby league, and during the Super League dramas and the opening, got about 5 minutes of commentary from Fatty Vorden, featuring a whole bunch of punch-ups from State of Origin, especially that massive one with John Hopewadi just teeing off on everyone. That was
possibly
great
his
stuff.
teammate Terry Hill, I think maybe even.
Yeah, and there were some great teams in there too, because of the Super League era.
Yeah.
And your South Queensland Crushers.
Mm.
Where were the Reds from? They Western
Reds.
Oh, Western Reds.
Western Reds were Perth.
Yeah, they had a little like kangaroo logo. I remember that.
ARL 96.
Adelaide Rams, maybe?
Adelaide Rams, absolutely. Adelaide Rams.
Yeah,
Dale
anyway, there were some
Shearer.
bizarre teams.
I think Dale Shearer, who was a great player for the Adelaide Rams.
You tell that I've never played this game, or?
Yeah, same.
Well, I love
it was
that.
an absolute cracker.
I love that, Pat. I love that. And as the judge, I'm the only person that matters. So that's fantastic.
Exactly.
Sam, yours, please.
Crossing up with a few here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with one that could possibly be mentioned. I could be wrong. Now, this is something that I probably watch once every 6 months. With the invent of YouTube, it's got some astronomical amount of views. It is the greatest TV season of all time, featuring Will and Uncle Phil.
Oh.
What a
scene.
How come you don't want me, man?
Very good.
That is very good.
So, what am I naming this? To hell with him?
Yeah, that's a bloody
that is
goodie.
just some of the acting.
I'm tearing up right now.
From one of the greatest TV shows of the 90s. I think we could probably cover it on an episode. This is a great idea, Simon. We're uncovering these podcasting gems.
To hell with him.
Is this just brainstorming for better podcasts that we should?
Yeah, I think it might be. We might not even release this. This is just a good brainstorm. All right, that is one of the great scenes. One of the greats, as we all know. Sean.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list. I had a plan, and now that I've heard the other things, I want to change it up. I need to have some impact. And I'm going to go with...
Oh, hang on. Did we lose someone then? We lost Pat.
We lost Pat.
He only had a list of one. Is Pat coming? Or
he's
there he is.
Yeah, he's here.
Pat is Cummins.
No idea what happened there.
Okay.
We're still recording, Bob, so
has,
you can...
Has,
Yep.
Has he said his thing yet, or is he still...
No, we waited for you, Pat.
You rattled me. I'm going to go with a quote.
Did he say
from
a
a
shit
film?
one, and now he's doing a second one?
As his first one.
Shut up, Pat. I'm going with the whole movie, but I'm particularly fond of the ending.
Yep.
When Jake says to Beth, "Fuck your warrior bullshit, Beth! You'll be back!" Obviously, once warriors.
Of course.
Very good.
Oh,
I like it.
Not bad for a mulligan.
And Bob now, after that absolute ripper first pick, along with ARL 96, and to hell with him, gets to go again with his first pick of the second round.
I'm going to stick with my theme, despite the fact that it might not win me any points here, but you're not in Guatemala now, Dr. Opata.
What a quote. And
Yeah,
so
very good.
So this is just going to be a full Tim Morrison list, is it?
Obviously.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that was on my list. Back
Well, look,
is
it's
very
the
high
most
up.
iconic line in New Zealand television history, I would say. Is there a more? I'm not going to give any others away, but that's right up there, isn't it?
Got to be. And I don't think "fuck your warrior" bullshit is the most famous line from Once Warriors, but the "cook the man some eggs" scene is it's a bit traumatic to bring up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also, too much weight's not enough speed work. Of course, is another iconic line from that one. But anyway, those are two wonderful picks there from Bob and Sam. You get the second pick of the second round, as you will for every single round.
We're not really cracking into our American audience here with all these New Zealand, but I guess experiences, isn't it?
Screw the non-New Zealanders for this one.
Very generic, this one. It's not going to get any obscurity points. You did own a pair of these, Simon. Possibly the heaviest shoes I've ever worn in my entire life. But I'm going to go with Reebok pumps. Hold on. I've just got to pump up.
Yeah.
when you said heavy shoes, I thought you were delving into some Doc Martens.
Airwear.
Now those pulp shoes that girls used to wear.
Reebok pumps. Look, you're not going to get any arguments with anybody on that one, Sam. A fantastic shoe, a fantastic symbol of the 90s. Pat Sellers, yours, please.
I'm gonna go. I haven't really put mine in order, so I'm just playing around. But I'm gonna go with Scholastics magazine.
Oh wow!
Was that Scholastic magazine?
A hell of a lot of books from there through my primary school.
That's a great
I reckon
one.
I read about none of them, but I had a bookshelf full of Goosebumps. Yeah,
I
they're probably still in brand new condition.
But Pat, can you name the different book clubs within the Scholastic magazine umbrella?
Lucky Book Club.
No, I'd be concerned if you can.
Lucky Book Club, Star, Arrow.
Yep.
Oh no, I just ordered whatever one came with like a little bonus, like a little, Goosebumps reading light or something.
Yeah,
I love the Goosebumps reading light.
Charlotte's
Web.
I never tried using it for reading, but it was a good little torch.
Charlotte's Web was the first I ever bought from Scholastic magazine. I remember it very, very well. Very exciting.
I'm on Pat. I had like 1 to 40 of Goosebumps and read about 5.
And Pat, you get after Scholastic magazine, Scholastic. I don't know how to say that, but scholar. It's scholar, isn't it? So it'd be Scholastic. Pat, you have another pick back to back here.
Just one thing. Did you know that wasn't a New Zealand thing as well?
Wasn't.
Because it's in a Little Dicky song. He talks about Scholastics magazine. And his line is, "It made me need that shit so bad." But
Wait, are you giving him another pick just because he had a good choice?
Nah, he gets
it's a snake draft, Sean.
Because he's still not got the draft.
It's a snake
I'm so
draft.
confused. I thought I was the one who got to go back to back.
You did. Once a Warriors and you're not in Guatemala.
Yeah. But now Pat gets to go back to back.
Scholastic is still a magazine. They come.
We were getting them at WIS.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Pat, take it away.
Not well used.
Were you still ordering Goosebumps while you're teaching? Looking for those specials. All right, what else have I got? I'll go. I mostly want to take this one because I feel like Sam's going to take it at some point. I will go with a sports team. I'll take the Dream Team, 1992 US basketball team.
Great unit.
Yeah, Interesting.
Great unit.
Yeah, a phenomenal unit.
Christian Leitner was my favourite member of that team, of course. Collegiate member of the team.
I've got a Dream Team hat somewhere that I've purchased recently. Like heaps of their kits come back.
one of the absolute great units, and a disgrace that the 96 team and other teams were, they tried to use that moniker. There's only one dream team, and that will remain the 92 Barcelona Olympics side. Famous quote, of course, from Charles Barkley. Before they played Angola, there was a press conference, and a journalist asked Charles Barkley, what do you know about Angola? And he said, I don't know anything about Angola. All I know is they're in trouble, which is just a great line from Charles Barkley. Sam, I believe you are next, so go for it.
I've gone with a TV show. I've gone with an item of clothing, so I'll probably stay away from those categories for now. I'm going to go with, you could call it a fad. I don't think they've been seen outside of the 90s, unless you were clearing out your garage. But I don't know if you say a pair, but chatterings.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
It comes straight off my list.
That's good to hear.
A 10-year-old punch-up when we were 10 years old with Sam Johnson over chatterings. One of us lost one of ours, and there was one left, which we were both certain it was ours. I didn't realise he was going to grow up to be 30 foot tall.
The thing I liked about chatterings was there were different, like very subtle differences. You could get the brass chatterings that were, I think, hexagonal or octagonal.
Yep.
But then you could get the circle brass ones.
They were better. We never had those.
Nah, I think the best ones that you're like, oh, he's rich, was like the silver round ones, and they flew around the little ring.
I remember at an age of at least double digits, I was at this point crying because Sam, my younger brother, could start up the chatterings and I couldn't. And I packed this almighty tantrum, and I was genuinely double digits.
Yeah, I remember you used to hold the ring, and then flick your hand down, and that was the way
Slap
you would be able to start it. And I would just hold it with my thumb and just.
I eventually got the thumb technique, but initially I had to slap at it. It was an embarrassment. I was terrible at it. Great one.
I can confirm that James Penis May still had a set of chatterings when we went flatting together in about 2008.
You reckon you could still pick them up today? You reckon do you reckon you could do that one?
I never had them as a kid, and I certainly honked at them as a university student.
For those listening, and no one is watching, Pat was doing some hula hoopy thing with his hands when he said
that one. Was it the roller coaster? The one where you held it sideways and it went round and around?
I up the ladder like that.
Oh yeah, that one was a goodie. Yeah, climbing the ladder. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to very quickly move on before everyone logs off at everybody's actions that no one can see. So, Sean, you get a double up now. You get 2 in a row. So, what's your first, please?
You didn't have to tell them that, can you?
As stated, I never had chatterings, as that's because I was too busy collecting odd bods cards.
Oh,
that comes off my list.
He got you back. Splanty.
Halitosis.
That's so good.
Get them from the supermarket, eh?
Yeah. Was it Eater X, I think?
I don't remember. I just remembered you turned them all over and it created something else on the back altogether, like a puzzle.
I don't remember that. I remember there were hot ones that you rub and there would be a secret picture.
Yeah, we definitely, the last one we needed for ages was Dumb Devil. And not only did we get a Dumb Devil, we got a hot Dumb Devil. So it was absolute.
Nah, I thought we needed that nerd, the Galaxy nerd.
It was Space Oddbods. Second series. Bonus points for Oddbods 90s wise, because I'm pretty sure it ended with a Z. Like Oddbods.
What was it? One word as well?
Yeah,
Oddbods?
one word, definitely. Yeah, ODDBODZ, just to make it super cool. That's a great one, Bob. And
Right.
hit us up about your memories of Oddbods in the Slacks, and yours again, Bob.
For my next pick, I'm going to go with a pull-out, fold-out posters that you could put on your wall from a Ralph magazine.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, that's great. Ralph magazine pull-out posters.
Funnily enough, I wasn't doing that at the age of 9.
But that's a great one. And I never had any of those in my room, but
Who did you have at the back of the wardrobe? You must have had someone. Who was your Ralph girl?
I was a real big. I had two Ralph girls that I was particularly fond of. One was Rebecca Romaine, and the other one was
that was
Heidi
a funny
Klum.
spelling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It became a lot easier when she temporarily married John Stamos.
I think mine were out of teen hits. I remember one of them was
Those were a little bit less saucy. Those ones.
yeah. You get your big stars there though. You get your big stars. Like your Alicia Silverstones, your Sandy Bullocks.
Teen heartthrob Sandra Bullock.
You just call her Sandy?
Yeah.
It's like Walt from Big Lebowski.
I stand by it.
That's a great get from Bob. Sam Blanford. Yours, please.
I got heaps of TV ones, so I'm actually going to go back to the TV well. So I watched a lot of TV as a kid. And we had Sky pretty early, and watched Nickelodeon a lot. So I'm going to go with what I now found out is a 3.3 out of 10 on IMDb, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, what a game show.
I used to cheer for I think I used to cheer for the silver snakes. And they had to get past all these bloody obstacles, and I think Olmec was the part of the hidden temple that you had to get as jewels or something.
Yep, that's a great one. It's actually made me think of another 90s thing. It may have rung some bells elsewhere in the heads of these fine people.
I just wrote something down.
Great get there, Splaney. Great. I've got a few written down at the end, just ones you may have missed, but I haven't been thinking of it, I promise, in the lead up to this, but just been noting a few down myself. So now we have a double up with Pat.
Ooh.
I now understand the snake draft.
Yes.
I don't know if you do. A few times. Still have my doubts. But I think my tactic for this duo is to try and pinch ones that are on the other two guys' page. And one of them's got to be on Wellers, as he is well known. And because of that nickname Weller, it's got to be Captain Planet.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So the show or the character? The show, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll take the show. I mean, if someone goes with the character now, it'd be
Because I mean, the character, he's got a mullet, to be fair, but the show is a great get.
glorious
Great
mullet.
get.
Yeah.
What was the guy who was Hart? What was his name?
RT.
RT. Okay.
My favourite thing about Captain Planet is that 4 of the Planeteers are from continents, and Wheeler is from New York City.
I was always a Gee kind of a guy. I liked the power of water, so I was a big Gee fan.
I was obviously a Wheeler fan before I got that nickname, and then I was a bit of a Linker fan because I shipped them big time.
Oh, I mean, were they even needed to be shipped? I feel like they were just a couple.
I'd love to go back and see whether they were a couple or he was doing some gambit creeping that was glossed over because it was the 90s.
Yeah, were Wheeler and Linker a couple? And I think also a little bit of tidbit there was that I think Oprah Winfrey was Gaia at some point as well. He was like the Mother Earth person. I think she voiced Gaia, whether she had the whole illustrious series. I don't know, but what a show. What a get from you, Pat. Next, please.
I'm just going to switch from my text. I'm going to take ones that I think you have. It's just one that was a bit out of the ordinary. I'm going to take magic eye books. Mostly because I remember like pretending that I could see them when I first started getting them when I was a kid. And I reckon I was doing them for years without actually being able to see what popped out of the image.
Me
I'd
too.
lie that I could. Yeah,
Me too.
But
Me too.
because you could go to the back and it would show you what it is. So then I'd be like, oh yeah, it's an elephant. If you just look at the back, we saw you. Yeah, I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, I could never get magic eye books, and I'm not sure if I get them now. I'd love to actually have a look at one now to see if I can do it.
No chance.
I know I can't.
Great get. And Sam, yours please.
This is something I didn't do much of, but you did a lot of, Simon. You did it late
Really
night.
pandering to his brother here.
Yeah, good. Good tactic. Good tactic.
You did it. You did it late night, but I recall a lot of stopping and starting on your cassette player, recording music on tapes for the radio.
Yeah, that's very good.
That's how I learned the words to Gangster's Paradise.
I mean, maybe I was the only person to do that, but I feel like that's a great get.
I think lots of people did that.
Yeah,
and it was real grainy and like they were all the cuts of the songs were awful.
It chafed by the fact that the start and end of your song would have a radio DJ talking over it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you'd actually, I would, and I'm not sure if I was the only one that did this, but you would just listen to whatever station, ZM or The Rock or Channel Z, whatever it was, and you just listen religiously for that say, and coming up is Red Hot Chili Peppers, Eminem, and then you go, oh, yep, that might be the song I want to record. So you just literally be standing there, finger next to the record button for 20 minutes.
We had the dual cassette set up in one of our stereos, so you could dub existing cassettes as well. You got the play and the record at the same time. Really good.
How
stuff.
How good.
That's there's one of those things where I like you want to, but you sound like an old man. As a teacher, you do want to tell kids with like Spotify and YouTube or whatever that you have no idea how lucky you are. Yeah, if you explain to them what we used to do to try to play over and over again our favourite songs, they'd just laugh at you, really.
They'll never know the euphoria of making your own mixtape.
That's true. The effort required, and the pride actually. Once you felt like you had a mixtape nailed down, something else, Bob. That's fantastic. Great get there, Sam. I think you were pandering to me, but I think it was a great get regardless, Bob. Now you get two in a row, of course. Now and take it away.
Of course. My next one, which was inspired by Sam earlier, I'd like to choose Vulcan, Tornado, Cheetah, and the rest of the Gladiators.
Oh, so good.
How did that remind you?
That was on one.
I wrote the exact same thing down as soon as Sam said Legends of the Hidden Temple as well. So I'm glad you were on the same wavelength as me there. So
yeah, I think that's what I put it down as well.
Bob, are you more of an American or Australian Gladiators man?
Definitely Australian Gladiators fan.
Yeah. And the top two had to be Vulcan and Tower, right?
Absolutely. Big Vulcan fan.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought of the word Vulcan before I thought of the word Gladiators.
Yeah, I had to Google it to make sure that was the name of the show. I was like, Gladiators?
I feel like
you
Vulcan
used to be able to get little
also,
figurines of them at the supermarket.
Round 5 is complete, and Bob, you kick off the beginning of round 6.
For my next pick, I'm going to delve into one of the darker days of New Zealand history and pick a waitress named Susie. When I think of Rugby World Cups, I don't think of McCaw or New Zealand winning World Cups, I actually picture Francois Pienaar standing there holding the trophy next to the late great Nelson Mandela.
Wow, that's a great get, and it's
It's powerful, and you're correct there. Yeah, they did cheat. And oh my God.
Sorry to our South African listeners, but I love you that time. Susie is a great get there, Bob. And Sam, you're up.
This is related to a video game, but it's just a quote, and it's a 2-word quote. You're dancing.
That's pandering to me big time. No one will know what that is.
Anyone?
No one will know that on Microsoft Golf 2.0, that's what was said when you landed on the green.
I feel like Sean did.
Yeah, I recall vaguely. I certainly remember the game. It rang a bell. I needed clarification, though, that to be fair. But it definitely, as soon as you said, I'm like, I know what this is. And then
Microsoft Golf 2.0, great game. And Pat, back to back for you, mate.
I'll bring it back closer to home. And mine's going to be a puppet named Thingy.
Oh, you took it off my list.
Yes, perfect. That's what I was hoping for. Well known for his eyeball popping out on live TV. I've sort of taken 2 stones that now no one can say what now either. So
it's off my list.
Jason
really
Gunn's
good.
gone.
You really stole my gun
that.
story from.
Yeah, perfect.
We'll have to.
You can
hear
tell
the
it
gun
now.
Story, though. We'll have to hear let's hear the gun story now. That's perfect opportunity to bring that up. Sure.
So what happened was my whole life at the time, which hadn't been very long, What Now had been filmed in Auckland. And they announced that they were moving production to one of New Zealand's finest studios, Avalon Studios.
What a studio.
And I got my friend Anthony Barnett took me to the first Hutt Valley screened What Now episode. And we got there, and the first thing I learnt when I got there was that it was actually a rehearsal to make sure everything works. So instant disappointment because I wasn't going to be on TV. But bounced back when I got selected to get gunged. And so went through the process, blah, 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 blah. I can't even remember what happened. Got in the gunge machine and some, background assistant guy, they panned away from me and he came over to me and he's like, oh, the gunge machine's not actually functional now, so you're not getting gunged.
How old were you?
I don't know. I do not
Honestly, Bob, I'm laughing, but I am feeling your pain, man, because that is absolutely devastating.
That's devastating.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do I get the points generated by that story because I brought that story in?
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, but it was a great story, and we appreciate both of the stimulus to bring it up from you, Pat, and the heartbreaking story there from you, Sean. So, Pat, you went with Thingy for your last pick of round 6, and for the first pick of round 7, you're going with
putting a card. It's normally one that you don't really want, maybe a 30th Marcus Camby out of 3 packs or something like that. Grabbing a peg and sticking that card into your spokes of your back wheel on your bike to make it sound like a motorbike.
Okay, I'm trying to think of how to write that down. Card and back wheel to simulate motorbike noise. How good is that?
Sorry, did you say that was the start of round 7, Simon?
Yep.
Yeah, struggling for 10 rounds.
You got 4 more, Sam.
What about you guys?
thinking we might have to not quite make it to 10. Let's go for a couple more perhaps so we can round it out. And I'm running out of good content anyway.
Yeah, same.
Splanny.
So with the second pick of the 7th round, this could go down like a fart in church. I'm going to say Sinead O'Connor shaving her head.
Good get. Yep, I like it.
I forgot that happened.
I loved her.
Yeah,
her songs.
Yeah, she rip up a picture of the Pope or something as well. It was real contra.
Nothing compares to you.
Yeah, and the fact that that's spelled with a 2 and then the letter U is also very 90s. That's a very good get there from you, Splanny. And Sean, yours, please.
Right. I'm going to go for a TV show as it appeared in a movie. The Real World from 10 Things I Hate About You. Pat's got visible confusion. You
talking about The Real World, the MTV show?
Yeah. And on 10 Things I Hate About You, the main is it
Heath Ledger.
Oh no, is it She's All That? Have I butchered it? It is.
I think you butchered it.
Oh, I retract all points. But so Freddie Prinze Jr.'s girlfriend dumps him and then goes out with the guy who plays Shaggy. And everyone thinks he's really cool because he's on The Real World. And the scenes of him on The Real World in that movie are infinitely better than any episode of The Real World you've ever seen.
Yes, I do remember this.
Especially once you know it's Shaggy as well.
And you, yeah, I was thinking of the wrong Shaggy when you first said Shaggy.
You're saying it's not Shaggy Boombastic then?
No.
Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah.
So Bob,
I was when you first started saying that, I was like,
you've got
Shaggy.
three.
I don't remember Shaggy
more,
being in
Bob.
that movie.
You got 3 more, and you're beginning round 8 for us if you can.
Right, round 8. I'm gonna go. It's interesting because there's a few things that have been mentioned that I'm worried are like partially off the table. You know, like Pat talked about the Dream Team. Does that rule out the NBA?
Not at all.
ARL 96. Does that rule out ARL greats? I hope not, because my next pick is Cliffy Lyons.
Oh, you're not going to get any problem with that from me. What a manly legend.
It doesn't rule it out. It just makes it a weaker selection.
Shut
up and respect Cliffy.
Manly great. Manly, absolute great. Uncle Cliffy won the 96 grand final for Manly. And it's a great get. And a very old man when he retired, Cliffy Lyons. About 38 by the time he retired, actually. It was very old in rugby league years.
He had that incredible sort of curly mullet.
Yeah, and
championed with the mo.
Yep. There's two bonus points for the mo and the mullet, actually, I feel like, as well. You've picked a really good league player there to encapsulate the 90s. Sam.
I'm going to go an offshoot of Transformers, and I'm going to go Beast Wars.
Beast Wars. Tell the folks at home about Beast Wars.
You're an Optimus Primal Reveler.
I don't remember too much about it. Only that it was like there was I don't even know if they were called the Decepticons and the Autobots, but they were something similar. And names were very similar. Optimus Primal, and the graphics seemed to be new age, but they were way worse than the animation of Transformers. Big Beast War. We played a lot of Beast Wars in the playground at school, I believe.
Reminds me of that time, not a 90s reference because it came out in 86, but when a whole bunch of grown men came round to yours, Sam, and watched the Transformers cartoon movie. It's a great day.
What was the song?
You got the touch.
You got the power. Do. Yeah.
Pat, can you round off round 8?
I'm going to go with Jerry Springer.
What a finish!
So good.
I had a conversation with someone the other day. Well, not the other day, probably a couple of years ago, who still believed that Jerry Springer was not scripted and had actors on it.
That's accurate. Yep.
It was Pat.
That's a great get. On Sky One, I think, or Orange, or whatever it was known as in the 90s.
Speaking of, one of my picks that didn't make it was midnight to 1 a.m. Sky One.
Same.
Yeah.
All right, lads. While I'm tallying the scores, if you could do your honourable mentions, and I have a few as well, but Bob, can you take yours away, please, your honourable mentions?
Things that I didn't get to mention. The hot tuna surf brand.
Oh,
Buddy.
What about Billabong?
Still around. Hot tuna didn't survive the 90s.
yeah.
I wanted to mention the Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets.
Just a general, like, not a... I mean, they were at their best in the 90s, but certainly not a great team, but teal and purple made them popular. Pro-Yos.
Oh, very good.
Well, I actually had... I'm going to just interrupt you there. I had Rain Yo-Yo down there as well.
Yeah.
The automatic sleeper, but continue.
I just remember quickly on Pro-Yos, they had a ranking 1 through 4 on the inside, and you could open them and connect them to make different things. And I don't remember if 1 or 4 was the best, but I do remember when Curtis Tohiriki came to my birthday party and knocked a pencil out of my mouth with a Pro-Yo because he was the second best Pro-Yoer in New Zealand. I also had Shane Thompson.
Shane Thompson.
Northern District's great.
Went to do thoroughbred horses once. Fun fact about him.
Called both Meds and Offies. I had the 90s greatest album, Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette.
What an album.
Yeah.
I had Nick Cage. I had Shooter McGavin. I had Ice Ice Baby. I had
Good.
Barbara Kendall.
Ooh, yeah, very good.
And I had D Generation X.
Oh,
That's good. Good stuff. That's real good stuff.
Oh, good. Who wants to go first, Pat or Sam, for honourables?
I'll go through mine pretty quick. I had Sports Den in Lower Hutt, just to really bring it home. Time Crisis as my video game. Straight out of Video Easy, get the whole pack. A rental. Snap bracelets.
Nice.
Things. Pogs and mod chips.
Oh,
Yeah.
mod chip.
Wow.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Splinter, yours? Got any left?
Couple of basketball-related ones. I've got White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, so good.
Oh, how do we miss it?
Alongside that, Flat Tops.
Oh, yeah, I tossed up with Flat Tops when I was thinking about Ice Ice Baby.
Just Dennis Rodman
Excellent.
as a thing. A couple of Cartoon Network shows, Cow and Chicken and Rocco's Modern Life.
Excellent.
Oh, you're very good.
I got Tearaways. We mentioned it in the title, but thought it needs to be mentioned. You guys mentioned a couple of rugby league things, so I'll say ET's Rugby League.
Good stuff.
Dun,
Okay.
dun, 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 dun. I've got Day of the Tentacle,
Okay.
What's
which
that?
may be end of the 80s. It's a fantastic click and, what do you call it?
Click and
Point and
shoot.
click.
Point and click game.
Yeah.
Point
That's
and
it.
click adventure game.
And I've got Deepak Patel opening the bowling.
That's excellent.
Very good.
I missed one, sorry. I wanted to
Go on.
mention the Game City SimCity 2000's obsession with llamas.
Love it. All right, my honourable mentions, which I've honestly just thought of them today. I haven't been mulling them for weeks. Is the TV show Doug,
Excellent.
Oh, very good.
the brand in general, Starter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know it's come back now, but starter caps, were another thing in the 90s. Pat made me think of this with his Sports Den, but Mark 1 and Card Crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Card Crazy.
down Queen's Arcade.
That's where I got my X-Men cards.
These
Right.
two come hand in hand. Wheel of Fortune and Lana Cockcroft.
Yeah, very good.
The mentioning of chatterings from Sam made me think of its poor brother, the Diablo, where you had the
that's not the
two
poor
bits of
brother.
wood and the string, and it was like an hourglass, and you go side to side. You toss the Diablo up in the air and do tricks with it. That was another toy. Tina Turner sang "Simply the Best" at the Winfield Cup Grand Final.
Very good.
Oh, that's so good.
Game Twisted Metal 2, one of the great PlayStation games, and TV show that I'm not sure anyone else ever watched, but it was Tia and Tamara, Sister. Never knew how much I missed you. What a show that was. All right, so without further ado, I'm actually not going to say the worst thing because they were all brilliant, guys. You've done brilliantly well. I'm not even going to do most obvious either. So we've got 2 quick categories and overall winner. So the best overall thing. I have to go with Sam Blanford's recording music from the radio station on the radio, onto a tape. That was just brilliant, and that's my best overall thing in this contest.
Thank you.
Bit of a Springboks victory, that one.
Most obscure, though I loved it. I'm not taking away any points for this. Fantastic. ARL 96, I thought was just extremely obscure, but I reveled in it. Worst thing, I know I said I wasn't going to say this, but actually I'll come back to that later. So let's go over the placings now. So Sam Blanford had this competition won after 5 rounds. He had it won. His first 5 picks were Will Smith, To Hell With Him, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Reebok Pumps, Chatterings, Legends of the Hidden Temple Nickelodeon show, and recording music on the radio. So he had it won. But his last 3 picks were You're Dancing, Microsoft Golf 2.0, a fine pick, but a bit of a weak one overall, I felt. Sinead O'Connor shaving her head, that was all right. That was okay. And Beast Wars, a bit weak. So Sam started out with a hiss and a roar and lost his way a little bit in the final third. Sean had a really, really solid all-round effort. Started off New Zealand heavy and in fact, very Australasia heavy for 7 out of his 8 picks.
I love the Antipodeans.
So let's go over Sean's. Once for Warriors. You're not in Guatemala now, Dr. Ropata. Odd Bods. Ralph Magazine pull-out posters. I believe Ralph was Australian, Bob, or was that also American?
I believe it was Australian.
Australian Gladiators. Susie the Waitress. And Cliffy Lyons. And the one guess that Bob didn't do, that wasn't Australian or Kiwi, was The Real World on 10 Things I Hate About. I mean, geez, all that.
Yeah, it is.
See.
So
Aussie.
I'm gonna. Yeah, well, it was American, but Sean also mentioned that his favourite was Australian Gladiators. So Pat's gone with ARL 96, Scholastic Magazine, the 92 Dream Team, Captain Planet, Magic Eye Books, Thingy, putting a card in your back wheel to simulate a motorbike noise, and Jerry Springer. So Sam had the best start. Sean leaned very heavily towards Antipodean, which I loved. But I thought overall, Pat had the strongest list.
Fucking bullshit.
And so
it was
for
the
that
card in the
reason,
spokes,
Pat
wasn't it?
Sellers is our Name the 90s a Contest champion.
Thank you very much.
And Bob might have won it if he hadn't said The Real World from 10 Things I Hate About You. That was a black mark. That was a black mark on his name.
Fuck, I should have just said The Real World.
And Sam, honestly, Sam, those first 5 were absolutely brilliant, and the last 3 were weak. So we've got a lot of content now, lads. I think moving forward for the podcast, lots of material there.
It's too bad I'm never talking to you guys again.
Some of the honourable mentions, I reckon, are pretty content. Got a lot of content to them. I thought a White Men Can't Jump episode would go well.
Oh yeah, we'll post this. Including Wesley Sipes not being able to dribble a basketball without looking down at the ground. We'll post these lists, I think, and then we'll ask the people at home: did I make the right decision? Was I too kind to Pat, too harsh to Sam, and too harsh to Bob? So, Sam, do you want to take us out?
I don't have anything planned, but that was fantastic, Simon. You described it as a low floor, high ceiling episode. I think we middled it in the somewhere in between there. But I think people will enjoy listening to that, particularly our New Zealand listeners. Thank you, Sean.
We can just close it off with a bit of audio of the card trick in the back tire of your bike.
I was thinking a I
was hoping we'd finish off with Marty T singing 10 guitars.
Very good.